Hello, my name is Ritesh Tandon and I am a security sales engineer with AlgoSec. In this demo video, I will be discussing about AlgoSec's application-centric approach to tackle application connectivity discovery. It is a key business challenge experienced by many organizations and IT teams when they want to tighten their security controls, leading to a more segmented network and security infrastructure. However, in this video, we will be more focused on application connectivity discovery and its integration back to Cisco's software-defined networking, also known as Cisco ACI. Before diving into details, a quick introduction on AlgoSec. AlgoSec lives at the intersection of your infrastructure as a central point of orchestration and automation of your security policy. We support integration with most of the major firewall, network, vulnerability scanners, and many other vendors in the market so as to give you a central management pane for all your security policies and a unified view of your network across a multi-vendor infrastructure. With AlgoSec, you can have unified network and security control points even when your applications are sitting in cloud in a hybrid infrastructure. And with our latest features, you can now tie back your security policies back to your applications that run your business. We integrate with Cisco on a number of touch points, ranging from Cisco Nexus and Cisco ACI on the data center networking side to Cisco ASA, Firepower, Cisco Secure Workload, and Cisco ICE on their security side. We also support Cisco Meraki SD-WAN, using which you will get a centralized view of your network and security policies across your branch sites, connecting back to your data centers. Let's first understand the business challenges which I have seen organizations struggling with when it comes to ACI deployments and how AlgoSec can help you overcoming those. First problem is common for all, which is to discover how applications are connecting to each other. I firmly believe that what you cannot see, you can't secure. We'll be using AlgoSec's homegrown product, AutoDiscovery, to understand application connectivity using Netflow and SFlow traffic without the need of deploying agent-based collectors on each of the applications. Once the application connectivity has been discovered, we will document them in AlgoSec AppViz, which works as a lifecycle management for these applications, giving the business owners control of their application's network and security state. This information can be utilized to remove those VzAny contracts in ACI and replace them with more granular contracts allowing only application specific traffic, thus decreasing the attack surface. This information can also be used to move from network centric deployment to a more application centric ACI deployment. All of the work can be done automatically using AlgoSec's change automation engine, Fireflow, using which you can automatically provision contracts and its relationships with a single click across your ACI infrastructure. Whether you are using a single ACI APEC cluster or a multi-site ACI deployment using Cisco's Nexus dashboard orchestrator. I guess there was enough talking. Let's see this in action. Okay, so we are now in AppViz, and what we're going to do is quickly, before we understand what the final state of the application will look like, we will go into the discovery section where we'll open AutoDiscovery, and that is how we are able to build all the Netflow and SFlow data and build an application. So we have got two ways of getting the connectivity. One is through the traffic logs. This is not applicable to ACI, but we'll use the Netflow data back into our AutoDiscovery collector. In this brief example, what I'm going to do is basically uh, configure Netflow under the fabric policies. That's one of the way of configuring Netflow on ACI. And basically this involves creating network collectors where we are defining the EPGs, and the destination IP is the auto discovery server's IP and port UDP 2055. So we define all the network exporters in terms of all the EPGs where we are trying to collect the traffic from. And we also create network monitors and Netflow uh, flow records, which are then binding into the Netflow monitors. The Netflow records are basically to understand the collection parameters and the match parameters on which the Netflow data will be sent from ACI to AlgoSec AutoDiscovery. And then because in this demo environment, I've got virtual machines which are integrating through VMM integration. I enable Netflow on the VMM domains as well, so that configuration is also pushed to the VMware DVS, which is running on the EXI my applications are sitting on. There is another way of understanding if the Netflow is configured right is by going to the CLI of the leaf switches and also doing it is show flow exporter. And using this, we will able to understand if the exporters which we have configured are actually sending the flow records back to AlgoSec. Now, within back into AutoDiscovery, we will be able to search network topology once we are able to build the relationship using the Netflow data which is coming through ACI now. And as you can see, it is a huge data which we get now because of the application connectivity. This is where we have to define how the application logic is all about, which are the IP addresses are talking to each other, and there is another way of doing it. If we can go to the discover section here, we can define if, let's say, I've got a web app DB, if those web apps DB servers are IP address, I can understand all the flows which are there, and I can bind them together into a logical container, which is nothing but a business application in auto discovery. So I'm going to create a new business service here, will be consisting of all the flows which we have discovered between the applications. And that will be a logical container for myself to understand this is how my application looks like, and these are the connectivities into those applications. And you can see that we are able to, once we are able to group those IP addresses together, we are able to get the connectivity flows, thin and thick, and we want to understand what protocol also these flows are talking to. Then we can automatically, AppViz can automatically discover this application which is now built into auto discovery, and we can understand what the flows. What we'll do is we will import it, and this is where our application, a business application, will be formed in AppViz. Now we have got a bunch of data there with diagrams and stuff, but if you look at the flows, we will have source, destination, and we'll have if we do a connectivity check, we will understand if this is allowed or denied in ACI at the moment. And for this particular example, if I see the connectivity, I am able to see a graphical view of the source and destination targets which are residing in EPGs. We are able to understand the EPG BD mapping looking at the ACI data, and that's how we are able to give this information. And now we are also able to understand if this is allowed, then what is the contract which is allowing this. Now, further down, if we come back to AppViz and look at the diagram section of it, a business owner can actually holistically view about the connectivity of app of and flows between the applications itself. And what we'll do is we'll do a refresh connectivity because that will FS will understand all the connectivity flows and see if what are working or not working at the moment. And you can see this one in this example. It is green because of the fact that both the endpoints are sitting in the same EPG. And coming back to the dashboard, now what we'll do is we will open a change request because we want to have an understanding of how the contracts would look like once we push this flows information back into ACI. We open a change request right from the application itself in AppViz, and this opens a ticket in Fireflow, which is our change automation engine. The first stage is about the planning, which is it and it is designed, the stages are designed in an ITL framework, which is applicable to most of the environments. And then this stage, we are able to understand of which are the devices in question where the net traffic has been asked to be allowed or denied. We're able to do traffic simulation here as well and able to understand the traffic path and what are those policies which are coming in picture or not coming into picture. And this example, because we are opened a change request for all the flows which are not allowed in ACI, and that is where we are at now in the planning stage. Once we confirm this, it will move into the next stage of approval where there will be a risk check which will be done. And this risk check is our way of implementing a proactive rather than a reactive approach of to network security, so that the security business owners or CISOs or teams can understand the impact of the change before it is pushed into the environment. Once it is approved, we will then move on into the implementation stage, where it comes back to the network team to implement the change request. And in this way, we actually build a work order in which AlgoSec is able to propose the intended change to the administrator, and we talk about all those EPGs or filters which we have to create for the flow or slash connectivity to be allowed. Since I already have EPGs defined, what I'm going to do is match those uh, IP addresses which we have in the information of the ticket to the EPGs itself. And this is, as I had mentioned earlier, we are able to understand because we understand EPG to BD mapping from the ACI configuration. And this in the same example, I'm able to do a couple of them. I'm able to convert those IP addresses in the traffic line to the EPGs which are mentioned. And in this one, because it is on the same EPG, we are negating that change, but we are able to put a change traffic line for endpoint in different EPGs. We save it and then review what is the traffic lines and contracts which will be pushed, and we just implement the change. AlgoSec is able to talk to APIC or MSO or NDO to push the contracts and the policies in. And once it is done, it moves into the validate state, which after post implementation, we are able to validate it within AlgoSec. But for the sake of it, we'll just go back to APIC and move into topology under the application profile, and we can see the contract mapping between the EPGs in question where the endpoints are sitting. And we can understand, we can also go and look at the contracts. We can look at whether contracts were pushed in by AlgoSec and the filters which were along pushed in the contract with the subject as well. Now, there is another way of confirming it within ACI. You can go to the each EPG, understand, go to the contract section and understand what is the provided and consumed way of implementation of contract which has been pushed. And while we move back into the AlgoSec, we can see that the validate stage has gone through, and then it is able to validate that the change was pushed as what was intended in the traffic request, which when the ticket was open. Now, once we resolve the ticket, we can definitely come back to AppViz, which is where the application connectivities and the business model is there. And you can see it has turned green now because all the flows are now working. And we can then go into change requests, see the changes which were mentioned for this application. We can also have a view of all the flows now that the changes has been pushed. We can see all of them as green. That means, all the app flow connectivity which is required for the application to work is green. We can understand the diagram. We can understand the activity log. In this view, we are able to give, along with risk analysis and vulnerability, a holistic view of the application state back to the business owner and the IT teams which are managing those applications. And that is not it. Now that we have seen the application status turn green, we can go to the firewall analyzer page and look at the APIC in question. We can go to the policy page and we can put in search requests to have all the business applications which have the keyword business in them. What we do see is that we are able to search for all those contracts which are tied to that business application in particular. And if you are actually using APIC or NDO or MSO, This actually helps a lot because now the ID teams and the business owner can just come to a single point in AlgoSec and search for all those contracts which are pertaining to their business application. So what we have seen is over this demo, not just application connectivity discovery, but we have also done able to map that application once it is discovered into AppViz, do automated changes back into APEC using Fireflow so that we are able to tighten the security posture of the EPGs and have segmentation or micro segmentation, which actually decreases threat surface of the network itself, and then also give a holistic view to the application owner. Hope this has been useful to you, and thank you for viewing this video.